Spark plugs from a V8 car, it's necessary to put the car up on jack stands, remove the wheels, and then remove this access panel underneath the fender. To do this, you remove the 7/16 bolts around the access panel. With the bolts removed, remove the panel. To remove the spark plugs, take off the HT lead and with your plug socket, remove the spark plug. When you've removed the 4 plugs from this side of the engine, go to the other side, remove the access panel and the 4 plugs on the opposite side of the engine. Although we're replacing the plugs in this 8-cylinder engine, it's still necessary to gap them. To do this, we're going to use the feeler gauges and set the gaps on the plugs. Tap the plug against the vise until you correct the gap opening to 25. We've got a correct gap there now, and that's how you gap the spark plugs. Install the new plugs in the 8-cylinder engine in the reverse order to the removal, making sure you don't over-tighten the plugs. When you've completed the job, replace the side panels under the fenders and that will complete the service of the plugs. Flywheel round until the A1 TDC mark lines up with the pointer in the bell housing. This is the same basic engine as we had in the car and we removed the plugs from. What we're going to do is we're going to remove the distributor cap, loosen the pinch bolt and remove the distributor from this engine.
Okay, to be a little clearer on the timing, if you can see in there, there's an arrow. This is actually a plate off the bottom of a transmission. And some of them have this mesh, but if you look inside, you can see that arrow. That's what you want to line up with the timing mark. And some of them have a little plate with 2 screws on them. I've seen that type too. So anyway, when we talk line that timing up, that's on the transmission flywheel, down where it connects to the engine, and look up through the plate. This hole here is actually here, and you can see it's quite worn, but you can put a screwdriver and wrench that, or a some kind of lever arm, and you can wrench the engine around and actually line that mark up. Okay, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not, but here is A1 TDC, and then you got 5, 10, 15 degrees, 5, 10. This is the flywheel that's out of the car. The mark you're lining it up, when Ralph talks about it, is this TDC right there. I usually mark them with white before I put them in the car. And of course, once again, we talked about lining it up with the arrow that's inside there. You will want that close to your spark plug 1, cylinder 1 on the right. Okay, and when I talk 1, this is, you'll see right here, that is A1, and it goes to this one right here. So you get your rotor brought around and real close to that before you start prying on that flywheel to get it around, and it'll make it a lot closer for you to get to that top dead. And of course, through the whole process of the timing and working with the distributor out of the car, you will not change that timing mark whatsoever. Leave it on that 0, and then when you put it back in with the light to time the points, it will be in the correct position. So do not turn the car key until...
This is a Lucas distributor used in Silver Cloud 3s of the V8 cars. We're going to change the points in this distributor. We're going to remove the nuts that hold the wire on the points. Remove the insulation device, move the wire, do the same on the second set of points. Move the insulation device on the second set of points. And remove the point. Do the same on the second set. We're now going to remove the screw that holds the point to the base plate. Remove the points. Remove the condenser wire. And remove the condenser. Now we need to clean the base plate of the distributor and also the cam lobes.
Watch your head.
Once you've cleaned all the base plate, you can check that the automatic advance is working by holding the shaft and making sure there's movement. Lubricate the cam lobes with the grease and the posts for the points. The isolation for the contact is achieved by using fibre washers, which you'll need to fit on top of the base plate for the point. The fibre washer on the post and a plastic washer on the screw down terminal. You also need to remember to wipe the contact to remove the grease that the manufacturer uses to stop the point from rusting. Fit the contact. Fit the screw to hold the point to the base plate. Fit the wire to the insulating piece. Fit the insulating piece to the point. And then fit the nut. Wipe the contact on the second point. Fit the screw to the base plate. Fit the insulating washer to the post. The insulating piece to the other post, or have to fit the condenser wire this time through the insulating piece through the condenser wire, then through the wire. Hold the nut, hold it on with the nut. Taking a new condenser, need to use the insulating board to isolate the wires from the condenser and fit the condenser. Tighten down the screw for the condenser, tighten up the nut. Just make sure that the wires don't touch the body of the condenser or the car won't run. This is a Lucas distributor. Lucas use a 15 thou gap on the points. Set the heel of the point on the cam lobe. Using the hole in the base plate, adjust the points or point so that you have a 15 thou gap. After you've locked it up, check that you've still got the 15 gap. Set the heel of the point on the cam for the second point, again using the feeler gauge, and the gap in the base plate adjust the point. You want nice firm grip without moving the contact. So you've tightened it up. Just check the point, and that's the points adjusted. With the Lucas distributor, there are 8 lobes in the cam, so there is no need to time the points. One point makes the contact and the other point breaks. And that's all you need to do to this distributor before you put it back into the car. Because we've lined up the timing marks on the flywheel of the engine, we can drop the distributor into the hole with the rotor pointing forwards and know that we are very close to our timing marks. With the distributor fully down, we can connect up the vacuum line, connect up our low tension wire, and set ourselves up with the test lamp to set the timing. Hold the rotor against the direction of rotation and turn the distributor until the light just goes out, and that's the point at which the coil unloads, and that's the timing. Tighten up the pinch bolt, and that's how you time the distributor to the engine. This is a distributor from a V8 car, a Silver Cloud 2 or a Bentley S2. We're going to remove the contact points from this distributor now and replace them with the correct ones. We're removing the wires from the points. Once you remove the wires, remove the screws from the base plate and remove the points. Clean the base plate of the points, the point base plate. Wipe out all the old grease. Remove the grease and dirt from underneath the points and around the cam lobes. Lubricate the cam lobe with a small amount of grease. Lubricate the bearing pins. Before we can fit the contact points, we're going to need to clean the surface of the grease protectant. We do this with a bit of thinners on a rag and just wipe across the surface. We need to do all 4 surfaces before we can fit it to the distributor. Now we can fit the points to the distributor. We fitted the contact into the distributor on the base plate, and we're now going to fit the second one. You push it in, push it down, make sure it's well home. Fit the screw, just nip it down to hold the contact in. Fit the second screw to the base plate. Now we need to fit the bolts to the wires and then the wires to the points. Okay, first you attach the wires to the bolts. Put the nuts on. You only really need to nip these up. You don't need to do anything very tight at this point. Then we're going to push the bolt into the contact. We're going to put the second bolt into the condenser wire and the crossover wire. Put on the spring washer. Put the second bolt through the second set of terminals. Fit the lock washer and the nut. place the bolt into the contact arm. Okay. Fit the nut, leaving it loose so that we can fit the contact. We fitted the point spring behind the bolt and the contacts, the wire contacts, and we're going to tighten up the bolt. Like so. We'll tighten up the back nut on the terminals permanently now. Everything is fitted. Okay, we will need to adjust the point gap. You can see at this area here how the point opens but doesn't quite close. What we're going to do now is adjust the points to obtain a 20 thou gap. All the Delco distributors use a 20 thou gap, and you change the gap with the adjusting screw that's just behind the anchor screw. You need to be able to push the feeler gauge through without moving the arm. You can see we've achieved a small amount of drag. Tighten down the anchor screw and check again. You see we've achieved a drag without any arm movement. We'll go on to the second one. Turn the lobe to the second set of points. Loosen the anchor. Turn the adjuster to make the gap appear. It's very important that we come up with an equal gap for both sets of points, because there are only 4 lobes on the distributor cam, and one set of points different to the other will change the timing, point timing. Okay, we've achieved the gap that we want. So we're going to fit the timing ring that we showed you in the tool section. And we're going to fit a timing light in the series with a 12-volt battery. And this is going to tell us when the point opens and closes. You can see the light going on and off. Calibrate the tool at B1. You'll see the light go off there. That is the point at which the coil unloads, and we'll twist the ring slightly so that the pointer lines up exactly with the mark for B1. Turn the distributor shaft all the way around until we come to A1, and we watch at what point the light goes off. You'll notice that the light goes off way past the A. We will need to adjust the base plate, the adjustable base plate, to align the tool with A1 at the point that the light goes out. To do this, loosen off the locking screws. We're going to turn the point closer to the lobe so that the timing for the point should be aligned there. We're not quite there yet. We'll give it a little bit more. We'll take it back, bring it down. Bring the little closer, watch in this area here, and the light goes off exactly in line with the point. So now we have calibrated the points to open at exactly the same degree around each one. You can see that B1 will go out just at the line, and that means that the points are now calibrated and correctly timed. Now we'll need to fit the distributor in the car and do the static timing at that point. With the rotor pointing towards A1, the fixed set of points open, turn the distributor in an anti-clockwise direction until the test light just illuminates. With the test light illuminated, tighten the pinch bolt to lock the distributor in place, and that's the timing set for the Silver Cloud 2 and S.
Here's a close-up look at that ring and the tool that we used on the Cloud 2. The Cloud 3 was different, the Cloud 1 was different. These can be provided by Tony at Hypens Repair. I don't know if anybody else sells them. He still has them, so I get them from him.